Episodes of the Green Corn Rebellion Show are sponsored by Oklahoma Progress Now. Oklahoma Progress Now is a 501c4 organization focused on building progressive power in Oklahoma. Their primary efforts are on developing progressive content for a 21st century audience, coalition, and capacity building across progressive organizations and causes, and working to see elected leaders who are more responsive to their constituents and the needs of the many. Areas of focus include progressive messaging and communications, coalition building and resource sharing, and focused progressive policy goals. You can check out their Twitch live streams, and they go live on Facebook at noon, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Please support this organization. It's a really great organization. It's just getting started here in Oklahoma. Thank you. Now enjoy the rest of the video. Hello, this is the Green Corn Rebellion Show. I'm Gregory Harden II, and I'm here with my good friend and former Norman City Councilor, Alexandra Scott. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty well. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. And she's also a candidate for the State Senate District 15 here in Oklahoma, out in Cleveland County in the Norman area, correct? Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So, first question I have here is, how has the campaign been going since we last talked in May? Yeah.
Things, a lot of things have transpired since we last talked in May. The pandemic has still been happening. Coronavirus, I don't think it's gotten any better. I think it's only getting more, getting worse, more pandemic-y. But people really aren't abiding by the masks and social distancing, despite the mandates. As far as campaigning, I was doing pretty well with fundraising. I was focusing really heavily on fundraising pre-primary. We won the primary with about 63% of the vote, which was really good. I wish that I hadn't had a primary, so I could have shifted all of my attention onto flipping Republicans, of course, but that's okay. It was a good, warm-up round. So I was fundraising a lot before. And I've totally, I've tried to shift gears and still having to do fundraising and stuff since the primary. But lately I've been focused on canvassing, trying to be more present on social media. It can be really challenging after everything that's happened. Sorry, my dogs are at the door too. But after everything that's happened this summer, it can be a little disheartening and disillusioned and just like exhausting, frankly. In June, I don't know if you want me to kind of give the run through of what everything says.
Yeah. Go ahead if you feel like it. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So in June, I was still in the city council. My term expired on July 7th, so about 2-year term, right? And I didn't rerun for this for the city council position because I was running for a state senate. But in June, so we started our city budget process back in February, and so cities in Oklahoma are tremendously dependent upon sales tax for their general revenue fund. So a general obligation budget, which is how we fund all of our public services in the city. So with the pandemic having happened, sales tax revenue is volatile as it is and extremely regressive, and so it was even worse. We were in the budget process, and then in June, after the murder of George Floyd, there were protests at the end of May 30th and 31st, and things really popped off in Oklahoma City. Cops were throwing tear gas. Norman was feeling it too because the police here have also been responsible for the death of a Black man with mental health issues back in 2018, Marconi Kessie. So. We're going through the budget cycle, and the police department is one of the only departments, I believe, that asked for an increase in their budget this current fiscal year. They were at 27% of our entire general operating fund, and then they asked for a 1% increase to 28. But we were receiving demands from the community to defund the police. And when you hear the experiences and the truth and everything from the citizens in the community, the marginalized folks who, have otherwise usually been kept like out of the process, who have been silenced, and they're showing up to plead, right, with their elected officials, to basically help them and defund the police and protect our community, right? So we defunded the police in Norman, and it wasn't by terribly much, right? This whole rhetoric and this whole argument about defunding versus did they get an increase? But it's not the point. The point is we did defund the police. They were asking for more, and we gave them less than what they were asking for, almost $1 million. I proposed. This is where the contention started in about mid-June for me. And things really got heavy, or heavier anyway than they were before, was when I proposed a $4.5 million budget decrease from the salaries and benefits of the Norman Police Department, which would have basically cut the staff in the police department in half, the officers that patrol. That was apparently unpopular with the police and some of the Back the Blue supports that they had. But when they heard my experience that I've had with officers in the past, I think that it still kind of hit home with some folks, because at first when I proposed the budget decrease, there was boos, there was cheers on either side. It was really loud and crazy. And then, they gave me an opportunity. I got the opportunity to tell my side of things. And even the Back to the Blue people were kind of like, oh, they're okay. So maybe these problems do exist. So that was really interesting. But so we ended up having a 12-hour council meeting. Didn't get out until like 5 a.m. Ended up with just short of $1 million budget decrease to the Norman Police Department. And then within like hours of that ending, the meeting ending, officers from the police department started doxing me. They were sharing videos of my encounters with the police that like I told from the dais, and other ones as well. They're sharing my when I had called the police like back in 2015 for an assault. They were sharing that record. They were sharing these videos of when I called for a stalker situation back in May, which had my address on there. So people were posting my address, circulating it, and these word pages, right-wing groups talking all this stuff about me. And this is all before the primary, right? So the police have effectively doxed me at this point. And then I think about a week and a half later is when Trump came to Tulsa. And I was born in Tulsa, by the way. And so we went up to Tulsa just to kind of we went up there. The purpose of going to Tulsa was to support Unified Tulsa, which was a group, Black-led, Black youth-led, in fact. They organized a mural and some, community mutual aid stuff. And then some events sort of transpired that I can't go deep into. And then I was arrested at the Trump rally, which was not a part of Unified Tulsa at all whatsoever. They were totally not a part of that. I was not associated with them, just there to support them originally. And then things didn't go quite what we thought they were going to go. So I got arrested in Tulsa on, I think, the 20th, the solstice, for allegedly climbing a flagpole or allegedly obstructing a police officer. But I can't, again, go into that because the case is open. I have court in February. So we'll see how that goes. So as I was being detained and processed into Tulsa County, in Tulsa to the jail, the officer who arrested us was a horrible human being. And he had come up to me and he started asking me questions about who I was and what I did. And so he called. I refused to speak to him, and then I watched him go and call somebody. And it was apparently Officer Barber, one of the officers who doxed me from the Norman Police Department. So, which Barber admitted to basically in a Norman transcript article that he, shared my information, but the police investigated themselves and said they did nothing wrong. And then Officer Barber started basically saying that I was inciting a riot and I was doing this and that, which is not the truth. And he was saying that because he had an insider at Tulsa Police Department. So he was spreading falsehoods and, again, doxing me because they were not only sharing the previous stuff from the week and a half before, but now they were also sharing my actual address where I currently live, which is also in one of those videos that they were circulating, but also my arrest record. And they were circulating that. And it wasn't just them, it was all these conservatives, right-wing folks. So that all happened. And then the following Friday, so after about 2.5 weeks of my address circulating online and getting hateful voicemails, threats, threatening messages, death threats, stuff like that, my duplex neighbor was raped on a Friday night before the primary. So that was hard for all of us, I think. And that still is. And then, so that happened. And then it blew up, and then it went, kind of viral, I guess, as well as my arrest. And then the way that they painted it was horrible and heavy again. But then, so we won the primary 4 days later by about 63%, which was great, grateful, so grateful we won the primary. So that's kind of the series of events leading up to that. And then July was not bad. Just kind of, sort of, I think my team deserved to relax a little bit. I went to New Mexico, I went to California, and actually we went down to California to protest Trump's border wall. In fact, so we were in Cumier territory, and like Border Patrol followed us. It was weird, and because it's just indigenous resistance, on their land, and the government's coming in to it, like onto their sacred land, on their sacred mountain, and building this atrocious like abomination, So went down there and did some resistance as well, and then came back and tried to get back into the swing of things and get back to work in August. Doing a lot of fundraising, mostly is where I was trying to, because we're trying to send as much mail as we can, which I think we're only going to be able to send 2. We sent one at the beginning of September when absentee ballots first went out, and we're about to send another one. So we just finished that one up. But we don't have enough money, I don't think, that can justify sending another mailer, because to me it's more important to pay my staff, who's been working really, really hard. And we have been working really hard since then. So I've been canvassing, again, shifting gears and stuff like that. So recently, someone left severed duck heads and chicken feet in my yard, which was just really weird and gross. Didn't appreciate that. And the news picked up on that as well. And people decided to focus on super weird stuff about this incident. Like, those are chicken feet, not duck feet. Like, I know the difference. Or like I care. Yeah. Or like I care. There were severed feet in my driveway, in my yard. So I was like, I don't care. So that's been the most recent thing. Other than that, I've seen a lot of vitriol and things like that people send me online, mostly. But in person, like when I'm canvassing, I've been going out to the rural areas. People are pretty supportive, frankly. I was kind of surprised. I've been nervous to be out in public because of everything that's happened. People see me, wishing me ill will. It's kind of scary. People know where I live. Even being home is like, can feel unsafe. But I don't know. I feel still fairly confident about the campaign and the direction it's heading. Especially now, I'm seeing like my opponent is mobilizing some virtual army against me, like a militia or whatever. And I think that means that somebody's done polling and I'm performing better than they would like. So yeah. I haven't seen any polling. I've just been minding my business and doing work, and trying to stay true to the reason I started running in the first place. So that's the update from now to then. If you have any questions or anything I need to fill in, let me know. I'm happy to.
Yeah. it's a pretty scary line of events there. I remember when a lot of this was happening. I was scared for you and everyone involved in the incidents that happened. It was frightening. Um, but yeah, um, let's see. So, what all have you been doing in order to get in contact with voters? And like, so have you been phone making as well, or just canvassing? And how has canvassing been going during the pandemic?
Right. So my favorite thing about campaigning is actually door knocking, and I haven't been able to door knock. I have been doing lip drops, so going and
Yeah.
targeting voters, and if I can catch somebody outside and talk to them, it's been really really good, and that gives me a lot of hope. It makes me feel great. I love going outside. I love being in the sunshine. It's way better than call time. Oh my god, raising money is literally the worst. So that's been going really well. I finished a list today and had a great conversation with a woman whose house I canvassed actually pre-pandemic, and she remembered talking to me. She's like, "Actually, I have your information. We've talked before. You're good. Go spend some time talking to somebody else." I was like, "Thank you." Um, and so it's been cool that when that happens, and being out in the rural areas where people are kind of like, oh, apprehensive to go. I go out there and I'm like, "Hi, I'm running for office," and they're also disillusioned by politics as usual, and I'm like, "Me too," right? And so they see me out there, they see me working, and I think it resonates with them. They don't really want to vote for a Democrat all the time, and I'm like, "Yo, I'm just playing the game by the rules here. So got to choose a party because the independent last time was Teacher of the Year, and he didn't perform as well as he could have if he had just run on as a Democrat." I full-heartedly believe that. I'm also a pretty controversial character, so even going, which I don't know why I'm so controversial. I just try to do what's right, and I'm honest. I don't know what's so radical about that, but so that's been good. The other way that I've personally been reaching some voters is through text. So the texting function. So that's one way, and I prefer that because I can actually listen to music instead of like phone banking, where people don't like it when you call them anyway.
Yeah.
So, and you don't always get the right number, so you know what I mean. So the texting function has been actually really cool. So those are the major ways I've been connecting with some folks, and then trying to build my social media following, which, some days I'm adamant about it, and some days I need to take a step back and stay off of the internet. I just like, sometimes there's two different routes it can go. It's either like or three really. I'm being really effective and I'm posting campaign related stuff and like, stuff that people would want to see. It's educational, blah, blah, blah. Or I'm like digging through these horrific messages and comments and getting anxious about that. Or I'm spending hours looking at memes. So, yeah. The first one's obviously the most effective use of my time. The memes is a sort of a self-care thing. I'll find myself just sitting there giggling. I found a Cowboy Bebop meme today that I'll share with you later. But taking a step back from the internet for me is really important. So that's why canvassing has actually been super nice for me. Because even when I do through text, sometimes I find myself back on Twitter or back on Facebook. But going out and walking around, listening to music, dropping a lit, being on the sun is really, really therapeutic for one. And it makes me feel like, I'm working towards this goal that I've been working for almost 2 years now.
That's great. And I've been trying to get people to follow you on Twitter as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know you went viral there for a bit during the pandemic, the beginning, I think.
I've gone viral several different times, but there was that one tweet that went like way, way super viral about grocery store workers and
yeah, I think so. Minimum wage and like that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I was like, dang, up for
yeah.
this.
Yeah, that I'm really proud of that tweet because that's one of my big issues even outside of the pandemic is living wage, and now people are like, oh wait, like these people are basically our last line of defense in between going hungry and dying. Oh well, maybe we should pay them a little bit more, just like all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Rocket
uh,
science, you feel me?
Yeah. So how do you feel about the passage of State Question 802 earlier this summer?
I voted in favor of State Question 802. I know it passed narrowly. I'm grateful. I believe in Medicare for all, universal health care. That health care is a right, not a privilege. Bottom line, that's how I feel about that. That's the short and simple answer. My dog, sorry, is over here
Okay.
banging on the door.
Yeah, I was pretty happy about the passage of 802 as well. So last thing I have here is what are you needing from your supporters, or what is a message that you would like to give to your supporters from now until the end of the campaign on November 3rd?
Please vote for me. I need a little bit of money just to make sure I can pay my staff. I mean, we have enough. We've already budgeted to make sure that we can pay them. But any online marketing that we can do, digital targeting is so important right now. Like we're about to send out our last mailer. I'll be able to pay my staff. But anything extra we can do, we want to take out an ad in the transcript. So that's like $500 for a color one, and then like. I think it's like almost 200 and something for a black and white, and it's like this big. So we would like to do 2 black and white or 1 color, I guess. But it's expensive, but we need to reach those people who still read the paper because they vote too. And this district is really special in that way. So we do still need help with fundraising and donations and money and stuff like that. We really do want to do more digital targeting. And then so that's a big one. And we need as much help as we can get dropping lit, boosting our message. The message is power to the people. I always say that I'm running to restore balance to the budget and power to the people. And I mean that. I really, really mean that. So that's really the message. And then so helping me get my name out there in any way possible. Go and troll my opponent and just like tag my campaign page on Facebook. I have a larger following than he does on Twitter, so I'm not too worried there because I don't.
You're welcome.
Yeah, right. So right. But I do need. Thank you for your help, for real. And doing these interviews too. It's really nice to like work these things out and have somebody who has a following who supports me. And doesn't hate me. So, but that's the help that I need. I need any kind of digital, virtual help for people who don't want to do lit drops and canvassing and stuff like that. Like if they want to do text banking, that's what we need help with. Just getting my name out there. We need more name recognition. We do need more money. Just basic campaign stuff like that didn't go away in the pandemic. It's only actually been exacerbated. So yeah.
All right. Well, where can we find you on social media, and where's your campaign website?
We all know my campaign website is super complicated. I don't know why my team let me come up with the name. The campaign website is Scott, the number 4, okstatesenate.com. You can donate on the page and see how I feel about taxes under the issues tab, taxes and environmental justice. And the Facebook, forget the link. You can just look up Alex Scott for Senate District 15. I think that's it. I forget the hyphen. And then on Twitter, my Twitter slaps. You can find me at Real Alex Scott.
All right. Thank you for coming on, and good luck for the next month or so.
34 days, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Thank
what
you.
I heard.
It's always a pleasure. And maybe we can do a follow-up after the election. That'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Dope.
After you're the state senator elect.
Indeed, yes. Hopefully my opponent won't try to be all, it's rigged.
You never know.
I would not be surprised. I'll be totally honest. That's what I'm already anticipating. It's like, I win. And then he's like, whatever. So thank you again for having me. Shout out to everybody who supports us both out there. So thank you.